Hello and welcome to video 4 of this first step in learning the rhythm of childhood, the magic of Mother Goose. I am your host, Mr. Sandberg. So we're going to be learning a rhyme that is relatively new to me. Like I'd heard of it before, but had never learned it before. So, I've heard about the Man in the Moon, actually from Andy Kaufman, the comedian from back in the 70s and 80s. But never really heard the actual rhyme before. So we're going to go ahead and start on that. If you've watched our previous videos, our first video was a slightly longer introduction, which had several very well-known nursery rhymes that we worked with, and then we played along with Jack and Jill. The second video was featuring a lesser-known rhyme called Jack Sprat. And in our previous video, we listened and learned, "Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with a spoon." What a way to learn how to speak quickly, right? So today we're going to be learning the Man in the Moon. So you know the drill by now. I certainly hope you do. So let's get started. Sing with me if you want. Ready, go. The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "'Tis time for the children on the earth to think about going to bed." The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "'Tis time for the children on the earth to think about going to bed." Which I certainly do. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and learn each line together. So I'll sing it. You'll sing it back to me. And we'll do that with each line. And we'll do it through the song twice. And if you need to repeat that, you can go back and review that by just scrubbing the search line, in the video bar, whatever that's called, back to the beginning of that section. Here we go. Ready and set. My turn, your turn. The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, 'Tis time for the children on the earth to think about going to bed." The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "'Tis time for the children on the earth to think about going to bed." Alrighty. And again, if you need to go back, you can scrub back and go through that section again. And at this time, we're going to go on to the last part, which is putting it all together. I'm going to play it for you. So remember, you have to think the words in your head. That's an incredibly important piece. So if you can hear those things in your head, if you can think the words and hear them while you're playing, that will help you a great deal. That said, I'm going to go ahead and play up that scale using the B-flat major scale. And then we will sing it up, and then we will play it up. So here we go. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, go. One more time. Ready? Go. All right, so now let's go ahead and sing that up with me, okay? So, the man in the moon. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, go. The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "'Tis time for the children on the earth to think about going to bed." One more time. Ready? Go. The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "'Tis time for the children on the earth to think about going to bed." Well, how did you do? You want to go through that again? If you need to, go ahead and scrub back, which is awesome. Video is great that way. And those of you who are ready to go on, let's grab your instruments and play up your B-flat concert major scale. Now, I didn't say this in previous videos, but B-flat doesn't mean your actual note B-flat. It's the note on the instrument that sounds B flat on the piano. So for trumpets and clarinets, tenor saxes and the like, who are B flat instruments, that's your C. For saxophones like altos and baritones, that is G. For French horn, that is F. And non-transposing instruments, which like flute and trombone, euphonium, and tuba, and then mallet percussion, you don't have to think of transposing in your head. You can just play the B flat major scale note by note there, okay? So I'm playing on my C scale, but it's the B flat concert scale. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. Down the scale, ready, go. All right, so you can review any of these videos at any time and get really good at feeling this particular kind of rhythm. And I hope, too, that as you're listening to different kinds of music, you start to hear that jazz has these swing-type feelings. We call it swing. You can think of it that way. Other music like John Philip Sousa marches, many of them have this feel. You know, there's lots of types of music that have this kind of, we call it a triplet meter, because the beats are broken up into 3 equal parts. And then, you know, you can combine those parts to have 2 bigger parts and 1 little part and things like that. So hopefully that answers some of your questions. It's a little bit longer video, but I certainly hope that you got a lot out of it, and it's going to prime the pump for the next step in this series. So I'm looking forward to that. And until then, have a great day and happy practicing, everybody. Bye-bye.